Hey everybody, Water Elemental here. I have some exciting news about upcoming shows and ideas we have for the channel coming up for next month as well as 2017. The first big thing is we are planning a new podcast. We have no name for it yet, so I can't give any specifics on what it's going to be called, logos, anything like that. But the podcast is going to have 6 major topics that we're going to talk about within an hour to an hour and a half time period, depending on how long we run our conversations for. This podcast is going to talk about what we are interested in. Gaming, movies, comics, board games, tabletop stuff, anything we find interesting. So it's going to be a lot more free-form than our normal League of Legends podcast, which is primarily just talking about the news and what we enjoy about League of Legends. So from that, we're going to be talking about things like, what we're playing, topics from listeners, what games we're playing, what kind of stuff we've been up to in the last week, any just kind of funny stories we want to share over the internet to you folks and that you would find interesting. We will have certain segments that will carry through each week that may or may not be fan or listener interactable. The first one we want to talk about is the Tales from the Card Shop series. And this is going to be tales from our own personal experience or from a viewer's experience that they send into us for us to read on the air. And it would be stories like card shop experiences, or you go to like a high-level tournament and something funny happens, D&D board game stories, you're online playing Hex or you're playing Magic the Gathering online, something like that. Some really interesting stuff that, you tell to your friends, and it's kind of one of those over-the-table stories that you tell over and over again that always gets a quick laugh and you want to share to more people, and here's some stories to tell to other friends. So that was one idea that we really kind of stuck to as like, that would be really fun to do. So Tales from the Card Shop, if you have stories like that, feel free to email us at spastigaming@gmail.com with the title of Tales from the Card Shop. We will have those in the back burner. We'll keep those on file. And you might have a chance to have your story read on the air, depending or not if it's interesting or friendly enough for the show. We're not sure what rating the show is going to be, but I think we're going to kind of come out of the gate as teen. We're going to have some, language to it, but nothing super major. The other idea we had was the random D&D character theater. This idea kind of came about when we were looking at one of those random D&D character backstory generators, and we were kind of joking around about like, what happens if we had like 2 minutes to give a backstory, including a name and origin of a random D&D character, and have to kind of roll with it for a bit. You had to role play it on the air and just had some other modifiers to it. So we thought we'd kind of take one of those generators and have the person play it out, either the guest or the hosts or something like that. We'd pick at random, and say you'd get a half-elf cleric who is really afraid of dungeons but really loves money, and so you'd have to kind of play that out and be like, Thorvan, the great mage or cleric or whatever, I love adventure, but I hate dungeons, they scare me. It's just kind of something like that, and just kind of get like one of those quick little goofy, spur-of-the-moment kind of ideas out of the way. Not sure how well it will work in the podcast format, or if it might be like one of those like ending credit kind of goofiness things that you do. But it's another idea we had. Some of the other stuff that we would talk about would be, gaming news that interest us. We wouldn't talk about like the big topics, but it's like, hey, Street Fighter V is adding a character from, infamous Second Son. I'm just looking at my shelf here and talking about that, or, whatever we care about. There's a lot of games we don't care about, or, No Man's Sky, or whatever we feel that we could target and talk about that would be interesting, because there's a lot of like inner nerd talkings that we kind of chat about, and we have some really good ideas and discussions about that I want to share with other people, because it gets heated and gets interesting. So another one of those things that I feel that would be really fun to do. And then we could also do like a open box topics from listeners. Hey, what do you guys think about this? Or hey, I started playing this. Do you guys recommend a certain build? Or hey, I'm doing this. So, again, like trying to bring in some more user feedback and stuff like that. Along with that, we are talking about adding this to an audio-only section. Now, yes, our platform is mainly YouTube, and we will do some video. I'm not sure if it's going to be like a webcam thing, or just kind of have, something moving, kind of like how the Hollywood Babylon has like a static image with like the WAV files, and then whatever they talk about they throw on screen. A lot of stuff like that. Or if we're going to do more of a video approach. Anyways, that's still up in the air. I'm still trying to figure out what the best way to do that is. And we are going to do it on a external podcast-only site. Now, I know that Patreon has a deal with, I don't know if it's Podbay FM or another site that does podcasts directly through Patreon, and that way it can be sent to people that are connected to Patreon. That way we could kind of have some internal circulation, the best way to put it. And I will also be posting the audio onlys on the spasticgaming.com website as well, once I figure out the best way to do that. A lot of experimentation on my end, but yes, we will do an audio only for those who don't want to have YouTube up constantly or don't want to have to constantly have YouTube eating up their data. An easier form for consumption is the best way I want to put it. Along with that, some news on some of the other shows and things we are working on. The League podcast. We've been working on some new splash arts for a while. I'm currently off work today, and I'm working on those, but I figured I'd do an update video as well, just to get something out and about during the holiday season while things can get a little busy. We know that the schedule has kind of declined from doing it every Thursday to Friday to kind of whenever we get a chance to, and that's mainly because of work schedules between Axis and I. It's been a little rough, but we still enjoy doing the show, and we're trying our best to get it to work. So we're continuing on that. Just be patient with us, and we apologize for not having a consistent schedule like we used to do in the previous years. We're trying our best, and hopefully in the end it will give us more time to not force ourselves to sit down and do the podcast like some episodes would be, and more or less just free form and just have fun with it like we used to do. We kind of also fell into a rut of just reading patch notes, and a lot of people are like, what happened? You guys are just reading, and we can read patch notes. We want to hear your opinion. So we're trying to cut back on what we cover in the patch, but make it more interesting, where we're going to try to take some time and talk about the changes and how it impacts the game and what we personally think of it. We did a lot better this week. We kind of experimented with it, and a lot of people are like, yeah, that was a lot better. Thanks for doing that. So that's where the shift in the movement is, and we're also trying to improve the format and make things a lot more enjoyable again, because trying to experiment is the best way to explain it. So that's pretty much what we have planned for the podcast. It's not going anywhere. We just want to add some content through the year, which we planned to last year, but things kind of hit the fan. Hex is continuing on. I know that video series is definitely like hit or miss on when it comes out. I have like seven episodes on backlog, including a dungeon run and some other stuff. They're coming out with series 2 of the campaign, which includes like a lot of different stuff. And yeah, I didn't make it to the end like I wanted to, but that gives us more content to do. This also falls back on time and effort and stuff like that, where priorities, unfortunately, this is lower on the list because it can be done at any time, and it's not time sensitive. Yeah, of course, you can see me playing during events and getting certain items that are only for the event and stuff like that, but I feel in the end that you can watch these at any point in time and they'll still have the same relevance to the campaign, because nothing much really changes. Yeah, you'll see like the Shadowfall or a new set come out, but again, that doesn't really impact the overall story of the campaign as much as just kind of shows when and where it's recorded. Now, there's some funny things like the Killipede encounter was a lot harder when I went through it, or certain things were buffed and nerfed for balance changes and stuff like that. And that's just kind of one of those evolving things about a game. Yeah, you record it in the time period, so when you see it, it might be different than when I play it. But in the end, it's kind of an interesting thing. The Killipede one, for example, was really funny because someone's like, the Killipede doesn't kill you if it hits you twice. I'm like, yes, it does. It clearly happened in the video. So it's kind of one of those funny afterthought things. I'm like, yeah, that's true, that because it's a, ever-evolving game, that things are going to change. But, we'll see how that goes in the future. We are talking about more kind of like one-off playthroughs. I did one about Overwatch, which had a huge spelling error thanks to my editor, or not editor, but my editing software changing a file when I rendered. But yeah, an Overwatch video that was like 1v1 dueling. I kind of want to get more spur of the moment, like one-on-ones or 3-on-3 kind of goofiness. Not the normal high-tier gameplay that a lot of people do. Just something funny and fun. But I really want to do more videos like that. I've had some ideas, but a lot of it didn't turn out the way I wanted to, and I kind of sat down and it's like, if I'm not enjoying watching it, then I don't think other people are going to enjoy watching it. So if I don't like it, it gets scrapped. And a lot of videos have been made and have been scrapped in that manner. And I always say that, like, I am my own worst critic. And so that's how it goes. Speaking of that, Catherine, I did a 2-part series for Halloween, and I said that I might turn that into a full-time series if people are interested. I got a new TV, and that factors into a lot of how I'm going to record stuff. I use a Roxio game card, and they cannot record footage from PS3 without component cables. And the new TV I got is a newer model without component cables, so I will no longer be able to do PlayStation 3 recording. Bummer. I really like a lot of stuff on PS3. I'm going to try to see if there's a way to record on like my roommates or get a separate TV or something like that. But we'll have to see how that goes. More PS4 stuff might be coming, a lot more PC. A lot of things are on PC, so if there's something I want to do, I might convert over to PC in the end. But again, that's a hurdle when it comes. If there's something I really want to play, I'm going to figure out a way to record it no matter what. Streaming is another thing I've been talking about. We had that as an original goal for our Patreon, and we removed it, and that was because of the main issue of time. Time and effort to stream is a lot heavier than people realize. That's a lot of my personal time to record and stream one-time stuff, and it would have to be on a set schedule, which I currently don't have a set schedule. Axis doesn't have a set schedule. Other people we work with on the channel don't have a set schedule, so we can't have them stream for us. So it comes down to why have that goal if it's not going to be used. So we changed it to a direct request, a direct video request for us. Now, we are talking about doing some sort of like charity stream or just some one-off streams if there's something we want to do, like a research stream for a video, or do some direct hex streaming for campaign stuff. That would be fine. That would just be whenever I get a chance to, and I make an announcement an hour before. It all comes back to you if I actually have time and if people are going to watch. Now, I do this all for fun anyways, but if no one's going to watch and I'm just talking to an empty room, it's not really motivating. It's like, I'm going to be talking for 2 hours to myself, and it's recorded. Yay! So that's in the pipes as well. But that's all the news I wanted to kind of get out for what we're planning. We're going to try to do Pilot Week in January or February, depending on ideas and what kind of stuff we have going on in our personal lives. Because December's going to get crazy with holidays and family visiting and weather and all that good stuff. So that's what I wanted to let you guys know. I haven't done one of these in a while. If you have any suggestions, ideas, anything like that for Pilot Week or any other stuff you want us to do, see, tell me, please. I love getting feedback from people. I love interacting with people that actually listen to enjoy the show. That actually makes my day. You have no idea. So please, email me, comment, direct message on YouTube, anything, get a hold of me. I will really, really, really appreciate it and would love to hear from you guys. So please, feel free to contact me. Carrier pigeons is my favorite, so send me carrier pigeons. Thanks for listening. Hopefully 2017 will be a better year for our content, and hopefully more ideas come through the pipelines. So thanks for your continued support, guys. We really appreciate it, and I hopefully will hear from you in the upcoming future. Thanks again, guys. Best for us.